But for this week, I want to build a little bit more on the self-care that we talked about last week. And remember, I challenged everyone to first take some time to sit back and give yourself some self-care, whatever that might be. Whether it's television, tea, read a book, play a video game, whatever it might be, listen to music really loud, do some jumping jacks, whatever that self-care is. But I also want to talk about the difference in self-care, because I think this comes up, and I've talked to people about it. Everyone has their own self-care. You may run into somebody who's similar, and then obviously I mean the punk scene, the local punk scene. So a lot of people that I know, we have that in common. That is a very positive influence on most of our lives. But you're never going to it's rare you're going to come across somebody who has the exact same kind of self-care methods as you, and what helps them to kind of get back to normal and feel better and get out of a funk. And I think that's important because, like I said, I've talked to people about this who will compare to others. And I think the pandemic is a good kind of divining rod of to see where it is for people that even don't have mental illness. And you see the comparison of I baked 5 loaves of bread today. I taught myself how to play the guitar. I cleaned my entire, and for some people that wasn't a way to deal with the pandemic. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the point I want to make here, is there's nothing wrong with those differences. For me, it's a lot of cleaning. Like I said at the top of the show, I was organizing my garage at midnight last night. I had the drill out and I was hanging new hooks to hang my tools. That's literally what I was doing in a garage at midnight last night. Had some music blasting, and fortunately my garage is not next to the house, so I can blast some music with the door closed, and my wife and kid, it's detached from the house, so my wife and kid can't hear, which is a good thing. But for a lot of people, cleaning is not the thing. They don't want to do anything. They need to cuddle up with a blanket. They need to watch TV. And for me, that is also the case sometimes. So not only does it differ from person to person, it can differ depending where you are and what your body and mind need. And the reason I say that is it's important to listen to what your brain needs, what your body physically needs. Because your body's going to tell you. Your mind is going to tell you. Your mind is going to tell you it needs to shut down for a few minutes. Your mind is going to tell you it needs some stimulation. Your mind is going to tell you it needs some conversation. Your mind is going to tell you it needs some positive thoughts, some CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And that can change day to day, and that's never going to be the same person to person, ever. So examine that within yourself this week, especially if you're someone who suffers from mental health problems or has a mental illness. Examine that within yourself. But then don't get stuck to it. Know that that's going to evolve. Make that a constant examination, not constant like daily. You don't want to tax yourself with thinking about this. But just listen. Listen to your mind and your body and let it tell you what you need to get on to the next step. And I will say the last thing to remember is you don't want to stay in that mode. It's okay to spend a day watching television. And if that turns into 2 days, whatever your body, that's fine. But there's a difference between self-care and putting yourself in what you would call a rut. So pay attention to that as well. It's extremely important. And I've done that to myself. I think everybody has. Really. I mean, anybody, mental illness or not, this is something that's happened in your life, for sure. For sure. So keep those things in mind. And then at the same time, challenge yourself, just like I said last week. So get that self-care in, but challenge yourself, not necessarily with something that scares you. Just challenge yourself to accomplish one little thing. And it doesn't have to be big. One little thing. Make yourself a sandwich for lunch if that's the thing you're going to accomplish that day. Read a chapter of a book if that's a thing you're going to accomplish that day. And then you build off of those. And remember, it's different person to person. So find your own self-care.